Hello, and this is take two because I forgot to get my mic. So this video is going to talk about my most recent hyperfixation or my addiction at the current moment, which is the One Piece TCG. Now, with Regulation G going on, I'm kind of have my hands full with Pokemon as I'm currently in the midst of using Kyurem White to success somewhat. It's not the greatest. We'll talk about that in a different video. I have a whole video dedicated to the team I built with Kieran White. But specifically, we're going to talk about the card game side of things today, and specifically the One Piece TCG. Now, a quick refresher on Desmond and card games. I'm a huge fan. I'm addicted to card games. I love them. This is why I love TCG Pocket so much because it's nice to pick up and play. I was also a huge fan of Duel Links for a long time. I'm actually a huge fan of Yu-Gi-Oh in general. I enjoyed Master Duel for years and years until I eventually stopped playing for whatever reason. And the same with that. I have a multiple Yu-Gi-Oh decks that I have, and I have to keep updating because cards keep getting banned because the new decks use them, and so my old decks that are not good also lose them. But that's okay. I don't play competitively anyway. But the One Piece TCG is it's a lot of fun. There's a couple aspects I like about it, but here's a quick history. When I was younger, in high school, actually, I played Magic the Gathering. I was shown Magic the Gathering, and I played the heck out of it. I loved Magic the Gathering. I thought it was great. As I got older, some of my friends had showed me Yu-Gi-Oh, and I was like, okay, so Yu-Gi-Oh is like Magic but no mana, and it was kind of crazy, and I enjoyed it. I then started to try to get into the Pokemon TCG, which at the time I didn't really understand. Now I get it more because of Pocket. But eventually down the line, I'm playing Yu-Gi-Oh a bunch, and the One Piece TCG comes out. I'm a huge One Piece fan. I've been reading the One Piece series for almost 2 decades now. So I've been reading this for a very long time. I'm a huge One Piece enjoyer. So I'm like, One Piece and cards, let's try it. And the game is great. Now, I did stop playing it because of an issue that I have with cards in general, where I feel like cards are getting more and more expensive. I'm feeling priced out of product, which is really annoying, specifically for Pokemon and One Piece. Although Yu-Gi-Oh is definitely getting there, where like some staples cost you upwards of like 150 for a playset, and it's like, holy shit, man, like I just need to play like the cards. But besides being priced out, I kind of that's kind of why I stopped playing it for a minute. I kind of played it a bit when it first came out, but then I eventually was like, I can't afford these cards, nor can I find them. That's another big thing. I don't prefer to buy cards online, especially because I like opening cards, so I'd be buying boxes versus buying singles. I'll buy singles if I'm like one away from a playset and I need a playset for something. If I just need like one or two of copies of something, or I'll buy a single. But I prefer to just open the packs. It's just a lot more fun for me, and it kind of makes you strategize more because if you don't open all the cards you need to build a deck, you can kind of use your mental to kind of come up with a strategy that might still work, although not being optimal. And that's always fun in itself. Regardless, I got him back into it recently thanks to my friend Robert, and it's kind of taken over. I'm a huge fan of it. I kind of hate I can't play it more than I'm able to. Um, but I just want to talk about how it's played. If you've never played the One Piece TCG, it's very simple. It has a mana system kind of in the kins of like Magic the Gathering, where you use mana to summon your spells. You use the same kind of thing. It's called Dawn. However, what differentiates it from Magic is it has a Dawn deck. Um, so if you start, you have one Dawn. Next turn, you have three Dawn. Up until you have 10 Dawn. There's a maximum of 10 Dawn. So all your cards, you just kind of can play until your Dawn's done. And what I like about this game is the leader system. So it's a game made by Bandai, not Bando, by Bandai. So it kind of has a leader system, kind of in the same vein of Dragon Ball Super, the card game, not Fusions. I don't know. I haven't played Fusions. I know it's like the new revamp of Dragon Ball Super, the card game. But I mean, like Dragon Ball, just back when it was Dragon Ball Super, the card game. There was a way to play it where you specifically had um, like a leader, and your leader was kind of always on the field, and that's kind of how you attacked and did damage. It's the same way here, but it's more streamlined and it feels a lot better. I feel like they've worked out a lot of the kinks they had issues with Super. Maybe they did the same with Fusion. I don't know. I have not played Fusion yet. That's on my list to try though. So around with like Lorcana, I hear nothing but good things about that game, but that's a different discussion for a different video. Regardless, you have your leader who's kind of always on the field. And I think that's where this differentiates itself in such a good way. All your leaders do very different things. For example, I have a mink deck based on the minks, and the minks all seem to be around controlling what Pokemon are active and which Pokemon are set. Basically, think of it as tapped. If you've ever played Magic, you understand when I say when a monster is tapped, it can't attack. Um, it's about controlling which monsters are rested and which are active. And the leader, which is Carrot, she can like on play like not on play, I'm sorry, but once a turn, she can just like tap a unit on your opponent's field, and they just can't untap. And there's multiple cards that affect tapped cards, or does extra things based on how many cards your opponents have tapped. It's very interesting. For example, my favorite deck right now is Blackbeard. I am playing Blackbeard. His whole thing is about trashing cards from your hand, and then using the cards trash from your hand to kind of gain an advantage in battle. And I think that's really, really good. They have a lot of ways to negate on play effects. Blackbeard himself, if you trash a card from your hand, you can just negate on plays from your opponent. Really good stuff. Um, and I honestly think that the way the game is designed, I think it's really good. They kind of listen to community because I know there's been a couple of banned leaders and stuff. I know like Aokiji was really strong at one point, so they went ahead and banned him. And I like the way it's set up. For example, in Magic, for some reason, if you wanted to, you could play any color of any card you have in your deck. All right, you can, and as long as you have the mana to summon it, you can use it. What I like about the One Piece card game is your leaders kind of lock you into a color. This is something that doesn't happen in Magic. For example, let's say you're playing like a Johnny, right? He's usually white or green white, I forget. It's been a long time since I played Magic. But you're playing a Johnny, you're not really locked into those colors. Your whole deck could be red and you can play a Johnny. You know what I'm saying? But the way this game is set up, your leader determines the colors of all your cards. I think it's the same way in Super. Like I said, it's been a minute since I played Super. I think it was the same way. But for example, if your leader, for example, Blackbeard, he is black. All the cards that you play must be black. You can't have any, oh, this yellow card's really good. I'm going to use this as a tech. Nothing like that. They have to all be black. Now, if you play something like Kid, there's a red purple Kid, your cards can be either red or purple. I know, for example, there's a Aokiji. He was blue and black. You could play any blue or black. I have this Odyssey girl. What's her name? Like Liko or something? Limu. There we go. That's her name. And she's like green and purple, so she can have anything green or purple in her deck. Stuff like that. I think that's a really good system because one thing that's kind of annoying is when you have to think about tech cards, and this is a big thing with Yu-Gi-Oh actually. And it's kind of like, how do we teach new players what staples are? Like Ash Blossom is a staple, or at least it was a staple. I'm not sure if it still is, but it was a staple for a very long time. And it's like, how do we tell people, hey, you need to have 3 Ash Blossom, you need to have Infinite Impermanence, you need to have the new, uh, basically the new Maxi. I forget what it is called, but it's like you need to have these cards in almost all your decks. And it kind of is one of those ways where those cards were kind of always expensive until they thankfully replanted Ash Blossom like 6 times in a row, thankfully. But for a time, they were very expensive. So it's like, how do I tell this new player he's going to need to drop $60 on 3 copies of the girl with her feet out? Or how do I tell this guy he needs to drop 150 on a copy of the little green guy who lets him draw a card? And stuff like that is kind of hard. And there are staples for colors. Like a lot of decks that run black rely on low cost, right? They want your opponents to have lower cost cards, or they want you to trash cards. So there are cards like Laboon. There's a black Laboon who is just really good because he lowers cost, right? And these are kind of staples for these archetypes, but you don't really need them. And there's no like general staples. There's no like, oh, I need to get Ash Blossom because any deck that can play Ash should be playing Ash Blossom. It's nothing like that. It's more or less like, oh, I'm playing yellow. Okay, I might need this one staple yellow card, but that's about it. There's no like the staple red. I don't have to worry about because I'm not playing red, and that's I think probably the best part about it. Where like it's just easier to get into because you don't have to worry about all those extra steps. At some point, I would like to talk more about the One Piece TCG, but like I said, I'm still getting into it more, and I'm still getting into it. I only have like 4 decks. I have 2 different kid decks. I have Green Kid, which is taking like a Supernova deck. I have a Red Purple Kid, which is based off the structure deck. I also have the Green Minx and the Blackbeard, which is pretty dope. I plan on building Odyssey because I have enough to technically build it, but it'll be higher like pure green, and it's a hybrid leader. So I want to kind of look at purple cards and see what fits. But also, I plan on building like an Egghead deck at some point. I have 2 boxes coming, which is not the best financial decision, but we're gonna do it anyway. I also bought a couple of the the 3 year 2 days structure decks because I was very excited. So I bought 2 of those. There should be coming at some point. 2 boxes of the 500 Years into the Future set. I'm probably gonna get a set of the greatest at some point. I am enjoying it. I'm excited. There's a new set coming with a yellow kid, so I kind of want to pick up a box of the greatest to get some good yellow cards, as well as when that new kid comes out, I'm going to build a third kid deck. I also plan on building Buggy because Buggy's my favorite character, so I'm very excited. Can't tell if you can tell, but I'm actually very excited for this card game. I'm glad to get reintroduced into it. I want to thank my friend Robert for that. It's probably going to take a decent amount of money to just because, like I said, I don't like buying singles. I like opening packs, but it's one of those things where it's one piece, so I don't mind, and it's also just very fun. Um, I guess that's kind of all I have to say. I guess this one's going to be a bit shorter. I thought it's going to be a longer video. My next video will probably also be about cards. It'll be about how I feel with card games right now and how I feel like they're going, and like what I feel like the community can do to kind of help or but no one's listening to me anyway, but it's just nice to rant. Anyway, have you played the One Piece card game? If you have, what's your favorite deck right now? If you haven't played the card game, what's a character you want to see a deck around? That'd be pretty fun. Um, and yeah, I think that's about it for this one, man. Like I said, this one's going to be a lot shorter than I thought. But I appreciate you for letting me waste your time, and have a good one.